This is a week of light and dark, depths and heights. This is the astrology conversation deep dive for October 27th to November 2nd. I want to give you some really good stuff about this 3-eye atlas, this interstellar comet. It is coming in and it is going to be conjunct Venus. Isn't that interesting? In a really wild, complex sort of configuration with some more light and dark. So I'm pretty excited to talk about this and just what does this mean? This week on Wednesday, Thursday is the 2 days where this interstellar object, consciousness from another solar system, it's been confirmed by science that it is coming from another solar system. So whatever, it's just energetics from another solar system. But it will be the closest to the sun this week. Want to talk about that. Also, big theme for the week is this is the Mercury pre-shadow retrograde phase. Yep, we got another Mercury retrograde coming up. But what's happening this week can give you insights to what your Mercury retrograde will be about. Also, interestingly, if we work with the energetics, if we're aware of them, conscious of them, we can avoid some of that trickster energy from a Mercury retrograde. I know, isn't that good? So we'll talk about those things. Those are kind of the big themes for the week. The way that we'll go through this is, as usual, we will do Monday through Sunday, giving you the big aspects, kind of the energetic imprint, a couple ways to maybe work with things on each day of the week. If you want the guide, the down and dirty daily written report, I do that every Sunday. That's called ReWilding Weekly. So right after this conversation, I will go and I will write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I will write the big stuff, super short, and I will also write some journal prompts and sometimes some embodiment practices. People are loving this. When it gets lost in spam, we're getting emails. Hey, I don't want to do my week without these insights. Send me the report, please. What happened? Where's my email? So just know that that's a free resource and it comes out just after this video. Well, at the same time that this video gets released. So you'll find those details below. All right, let's dive into this. So Monday, we start the week off with a really good grace-filled aspect that's pointing to action. This is Monday, but there's some interesting components to this. So you're like, grace-filled action. This sounds good. Like benevolent Jupiter, grace-filled, the expander. He amplifies anything. So he's in a trine to Mars. That's our action. That's our warrior. That's the doing out in the world. This is a really beautiful aspect, right? Guess what, though? Mars is conjunct the black moon. All right, what does this mean? So we've got this wanting to take action. Let me go forward. Jupiter amplifying it like, go, do. This is amazing. I've got you. I'm sending good grace bombs. And then we have the conglomerate of the deep, sacred, dark feminine sitting next to the warrior, Mars, the masculine, the doer. All right. What is this going to point to? This could be bringing out shadow. It could be bringing out, I'll say it like this, because sometimes we hear the word shadow and we're like, oh, this is just annoying, Sabrina. People's stuff can be very much coming up. One, it's Scorpio season, right? That is just a time when people's stuff is coming up. The triggers are happening. We're in a deeper underworld. The sun, that's conscious self, is in the underworld. We're literally looking at these subconscious, unconscious, hidden patterns within self and others. And the whole world, remember, is in Scorpio season. And so we could see people acting little bit different, right? We could see just people stuff coming up. It is a really good time to slow down. It is a really good time to be so self-aware, to bring more awareness to self, to bring more awareness to situations. Where am I coming from? Where am I acting from? This is especially good for Monday. Where am I acting from? Am I acting from a high frequency or a lower frequency? Am I acting from love, high voltage love, or am I acting from a place of reactivity, of anger, of fear, of where am I acting from? So let me feel a little bit more around this. Part of what the dark goddess, this is Black Moon, sometimes people call her Black Moon Lilith, but it's really the way that I've experienced this point in astrology from an experiential standpoint, and just from witnessing many people embody this energy, is it is the full conglomerate of the dark goddess. So the full conglomerate of the dark goddess, right? This is Kali, Medusa, Lilith, all of them, put them all together. Like you've got a full force of dark goddess energy. And the dark goddess wants, in this point, when she's conjunct Mars, she wants to clean up the masculine. It's one way that this energy can express itself. She wants to clean up your masculine, my masculine. She wants to help the masculine to purify, to clean out the toxins. It's a big thing of what the dark goddess wants to do, is wants to help you spew out the old toxins, release the repressed, the oppressed, release, and especially the masculine holds a lot of unexpressed emotion, a lot of unprocessed information. And so part of what this transit could be bringing about in Scorpio season, right? In the Mercury retrograde shadow pre-phase, in Mercury right now is in Scorpio. So Mercury, the mind, is delivering information from the deepest depths from Scorpio. And so part of what can be really coming up to the surface is some of this detoxification of the masculine in the world. It'll be interesting to see what comes out. The masculine in ourselves. We all have a masculine. And this is also our doer. So let's not just say the masculine as Mars. Let's also say the warrior. And we all know most of our warriors, myself included, can use a little cleaning up, could use a little let's move you up to peaceful warrior. Let's move you up to Shaolin warrior, sacred warrior, heart warrior. That's the warrior that she is really wanting to help us all to step up to. And this is masculine evolution. Now, beyond just masculine evolution, let's talk about not just warrior as Mars, but let's also talk about Mars can really represent the ego. Dark goddess can really represent ego slaying. I want you to stop identifying with your little self, your false self, your little hooks and, false identities, these graspy, clingy, egoical false little self. And so she sometimes will deliver, on a silver platter, exactly the situations that are going to help you to evolve out of false self, stop identifying as much with false self, and start to identify more with true self, with soul self, with spirit self. Now, this is the dark goddess, though. This isn't disembodied. This isn't, let me deny my body, let me deny life, experience, my home, my family, my job. No. That's not the feminine path of enlightenment or of awakening. The feminine path of awakening is, yes, you are a soul having a human experience, and yes, you identify as true self, but you in no way disassociate from your body, from your life, from the interconnectedness of the all of everything, the ground of being. It's the feminine. Wow, I really am not holding back, am I? I said I wasn't going to hold back. This could be the deepest, weirdest journey that we've ever gone on in a podcast, huh? All right, here we go. Let's keep going. So let's talk a little bit more about this dark goddess and why Monday is such an ego-slaying day. So if I had to give Monday a name, I would say it is the day that our egos are going to be slain. Now, not just because of that Mars trine Jupiter conjunct the Black Moon, but also because Kali is square Uranus. Uranus is a Kundalini awakener. Uranus, when you aim Uranus energy at any feminine archetype, it is going to wake that archetype up. Kind of cool, right? Monday, the archetype that is being woken up is Kali. Kali, of all the dark goddesses, is the ego slayer. She is the ego slayer. If I were to feel into Kali in this particular epoch, what is it that Kali's wanting to do amidst the fullness of the dark goddess? That's Black Moon conjunct Mars. She's already cleaning up the warrior. She's already cleaning up, and asking all of our masculines to evolve. Enough with this toxic masculine bullshit. Now we have Kali coming in. Kali will bring in a grace to it. She'll bring in this high voltage divine. It's a divine. It is very high spiritual energy. And it's almost like a remembering. I will cut through your ego identification so you can remember who you are. So that you can remember that you are an aspect of the divine. I will cut through whatever that is in your life. All right. So that's Monday. Just that for kicking off the week. What can we do on Monday? Let's talk about what we can do on Monday. Monday, we could get really real with ourselves. We could be really honest about where is our stuff coming up? Where is our stuff coming up? Get really honest about your relationship to the masculine out in the world. What is your relationship to masculine energy? Are you still resentful of it? Do you still demonize it? Do you use masculine energy in a way that compromises your feminine? What is your relationship within yourself to your own masculine? Does your masculine override your intuition? Does your masculine drive you into the ground? Does your masculine, these are really good questions for Monday to ask ourselves. Something else that we could do is a journey into some shadow work territory. Get out of the head, get out of the mind. Scorpio is way beyond where the mind can go. It's called the unconscious because the mind cannot go there. It's called the hidden because it's where the mind doesn't go. So we've got to find deeper ways. We've got to find alternative doorways into these deeper realms of self. This will be Monday and Tuesday. So this energy is going to go into Tuesday too, but finding deeper ways in, I would say shamanic ways in can be really good. Shamanic journeys, things that are very body-based, embodiment type of journeys directly with the dark goddess, directly with her. Go right face first into her Shakti. Now, the dark goddess is Shakti. That is a particular flavor of sacred energy. However you kind of can attune to that or, tap into that, follow what's true for you. We've got the Reclaimer path open. That's 3 dark goddesses. It's Medusa, it's Lilith, it's Eris. They're all at play this week. Also, I'll talk a little bit more about them. But feel for you, right? Maybe this embodied shamanic activation of these sacred energies, that's the ReWilding way, right? That's these 3 archetypal workshops. They're only open until the 31st. And so they'll close, what day is that? They'll close on Friday of this week. But if that sings to you, dive into that. There's really not much better time than a Scorpio season and this Monday and Tuesday to really, really go for it. These doors, the reason I say that is that these doors are open. The stuff is already coming up. We don't have to work hard to get into the underworld of ourselves. Now, the reason to go in there is, 1, to clear out the toxins. We all carry toxins. We all carry toxins around our feminine. We all carry toxins around our masculine, right? It's the toxic masculine, the toxic feminine. All of us have situations where the environment will just perfectly trigger us to respond in a not super high level, 3rd stage, divinely expressed kind of a way. And so this is just a really good opportunity to do some really big, I would call it transmuting of blocks within self, transmuting of like ancient. I just did a huge journey yesterday with a very beautiful friend of mine, and a lot of what ended up happening was going into past life territory, really ancient, old places. Like I was working in my psoas, and like that just holds the hips for me. My hips, they hold like, wow. And to be able to go into some of these deeper realms to release. And then on the other side, we just feel so light. It's freedom, it's liberation. That's Kali. I'm liberating you. I'm setting you free. You are free. And talk about Kali from a standpoint of karma. I'm going to free you from your karma so you can express more of your dharma. It's all the dark goddesses. I want to free you from your karma. I want to loosen you from your karma. I want to release you from these unconscious patterns. All right. That's Monday, the 27th. So let's go on to the 28th. 28th, again, I said there is more dark goddess energy. This aspect just kind of shifts and changes a little bit. So Tuesday, we have a black moon. This is the fullness of the dark goddesses now in her exact trine to Jupiter. Yesterday, Jupiter's exact trine was to Mars. Now it's to the dark goddess. This gets louder. Right? So now it's the dark goddess's day to shine. Mars, you had your day with Jupiter yesterday. Jupiter, the great expander, the great amplifier. Now it's kind of like her going, today is my day, sunshine. Today is my day. It is a reckoning. Part of what Jupiter trine the black moon would be is, if you talk about this like feminine reclamation work, right? I want to reclaim the fullness of my feminine. I want to reclaim the wildness. I want to reclaim my sensuality. I want to reclaim my life force. There's a lot of life force that gets locked up when these aspects of self are not, they're still like dormant. Another interesting piece around the dark goddess is that there's a lot of gifts hidden in the dark goddess. So for instance, this is an easy way of talking about it. An aspect of the dark goddess is the witch. So if we are holding a witch wound of some sort, a witch wound, I'm afraid to express my gifts, my witchy ways, because I'll be persecuted for it. I'll be burnt at the stake for it. This is rich territory for the uncovering of soul gifts. Dark goddess territory, rich for just opening up and switching on anything that you would consider to be a witchy kind of a gift, right? A witchy kind of a gift, like your visionary, your oracle comes online. Medicine woman gifts, right? You just know plants. You just know the weather patterns. You just know rhythms, and you can move by these rhythms, and moving by these rhythms, you end up like riding waves of creation. Part of what the dark goddess is wanting to do this week is really help us to ride waves of creation, to really tap into these deeper depths of what your creative capacities are, because we have not seen anything yet. It's kind of what this new human point is talking to around the new feminine, is the way that you are currently creating your reality is 1/1000th of what's possible. I'm just making up numbers here. 1/10 of what's possible. Like, you have so much more creative juju. You have so much more creative capacities. So that's another aspect of dark goddess. So if it's not just like this real like releasing of old things that are limiting us or upper limiting us, or old blocks or old repressed emotions or old family patterns or old past life things that are really kind of unconsciously creating things in our lives, and we just don't know about it. It's not just the releasing of those things, which completely changes our lives. It's also the unlocking of wisdom, of gifts, these more esoteric gifts switching on in dark goddess territory. Now, because it's the feminine, these gifts are very embodied gifts. They're gifts. And when I say embodied gifts, they're gifts that flow into your life. The goddess, the feminine form of the divine, is about life itself. So when we talk about, wow, I really just want to change my work in the world, I really just want to improve my relationship, improve my financial status, that's goddess territory. That's life, right? It's embodied. It flows into every aspect of life. So that's pretty beautiful. And so also to just speak again to the Kali square Uranus, that's just kind of getting a little tighter even. So that energy is still at play. So let's wrap up the energy of Tuesday. Just if I could give you a short, quick sound bite. Tuesday, it's going to be all about Black Moon. It is all about feminine reclamation, not just the shadow releasing to reclaim more fullness of our life force, more fullness of our feminine, more fullness of our essence, but it's also this reclamation of the hidden gifts, this reclamation of the wisdom that got buried, that had to go underground, given a patriarchal society that we live in, given the demonization of the feminine wisdom. And so Tuesday, it is Jupiter really in that beautiful trine to Black Moon, just amplifying, awakening this energy of like, what is the wisdom of the deep sacred feminine? More of the deep sacred feminine wisdom, more. Let it move through you, let it flow through you. And now deep sacred feminine wisdom, it is not just thoughts. Deep sacred feminine wisdom is your body's capacity to heal itself. Deep sacred feminine wisdom is your aura. It's your energetics, right? Feminine way of creating in the world is feminine magnetism. It's the do without doing. That's the feminine. Now that wisdom waking up inside of yourself, right? You have wisdom waking up in your belly, wisdom waking up in your heart. It is not mind stuff. That is not where deep sacred feminine is at. It is in the depths of our being. You can think womb awakening, you can think womb wisdom, you can think heart wisdom, heart awakening. This is the wisdom codes that want to switch on Tuesday. If you don't have a way of doing that, look for the link below for the 3 dark goddess workshops that hold this deep sacred feminine wisdom. Medusa, a lot of deep sacred feminine wisdom there. Lilith, an enormous amount of feminine wisdom that demands equality between the masculine and the feminine, demands that the toxicity in both the masculine and the feminine get released so that we can all move to a 3rd stage of expression of this wild feminine energy. And then Eris is the 3rd one that's part of that reclaimer bundle. By the way, they're open until the 31st, and you can get 3 of them for the price of 2. Only until Friday, though, of this week, and then they're closed. But potent time to really be reclaiming the depths of feminine wisdom. And again, it's not in the mind. All right. Woohoo! So Monday and Tuesday, we've got deep dives with the dark goddesses. That's really what Monday and Tuesday are about. Wednesday, we get lighter. So Wednesday now is when 3i Atlas is closest to the sun, the closest that it will maybe be in our lifetimes. This is a very new interstellar object for us. We don't know much about this thing. People are very much exploring it from an astronomical standpoint, also an energetic astrological standpoint. What does this translate into? What is the energetics that this interstellar object is bringing to us? What we do know about this interstellar object is that it is coming outside of our solar system. It's coming from beyond. So it's coming from farther out. And so farther out brings different energy that we're not swimming in. So you could see this as I've listened to Pam Gregory this morning. She's done a lot. You can look up more 3i Atlas through her. Also, Stephen Burns, he's doing a lot of interesting work on 3i Atlas. So if you want more places, those are 2 resources that you can just look up YouTube videos, type their names in. You can find more on that. But here's kind of what A sense of it is Pam Gregory talking to this. There's a lot of channeled works around this, people who are meditating on this. I'm going to do that this week, is really tap into the energetics of it. I haven't done that yet for myself. And then on our membership circle on the 1st of November, I'm going to open the door for us to each individually tap into 3i Atlas and get it's almost like galactic consciousness, the expanded consciousness. I do feel it's supporting new human. I do feel it's supporting this creation of new earth, which is creation of new earth within ourselves. But Pam Gregory's talking about this. Lots of channeled works are talking about this. And so this, you feel for you though, this is something new. It's something that we're all exploring together. What is this? My sense though, is there are some really amazing codes that we can tune into, that we can attune to. So Wednesday, Thursday, you might just want to attune to 3i Atlas. However you feel to do that, that energy is going to be there. Come December 19th, it will be closest to the earth, right? So it's almost like open the door now around this time where it's closest to the sun, which is October 29, October 30, and then deepen into these codes as it gets closer and closer to you, to me, to the earth, which is the peak is December 19th. So I really do feel like we have this beautiful window of opportunity. And if you want a way to attune to it, you don't know how or don't have your own ways of doing that, and it feels right to come and attune to it with me in membership in Bones, we're going to do some of that on November 1st, right? And it's always held your highest good, your highest good, your highest good. What are the codes for you, right? What are the codes for you? This is all about, we call it living close to the bone because it's living from soul, right? More and more uncovering of true self, true self, true self, true self, true self, true self. Well, what do these codes have to do with your true self? What do these codes have to do with the fact that you're living at this time, this moment in time of rapid expansion of human consciousness, 2025, 2026. We all know, everything is pointing to it. The yugas, the astrology is pointing to it. Channeled works are pointing to it. It's just crazy what's going on out there around new human, it's beautiful. Like all of these different sciences are converging around it. Astrology, all these different modalities are really like pointing to, I don't even know how many different things I just had a conversation with Richard Rudd, who's very much holding Gene Key 55, and that's switching on. And this is the setup phase for it. 2025, 2026, the setup phase for this Gene Key, which is a mutation in ourselves, in our genes. This mutation in our genes happening right now. Like we're in the mutation period of it. And the way that he's talking about this, in order for genes to mutate, we have to have pressure. There has to be heat. Well, we're in solar, what is it called? Solar gate 25 or solar. I don't have those words in front of me right now, but we're having more solar flares than we've ever had. This was an unexpected shift. The outer planets all moving into new signs. It's like everything is aligning. And this 3i Atlas is part of that alignment. Part of bringing in more heat, bringing in this pressure, chaos theory. That's when change happens, right? So we're in that right now. And what does this 3i Atlas have to do with it? And that's something that you can meditate on for yourself, right? On Wednesday, tune into that. So here's a little bit more around this 3i Atlas piece, where it is astrologically. So on the 29th, 3i Atlas, and this is according to Stephen Burns, who is an astronomer. I think he's an astrophysicist. Again, you can look him up and get all the details for yourself. But AI Atlas is at 22 degrees of Libra on the 29th. Again, this is closest to the sun, so this is like a peak point. Again, we're going to want to look at December 19th, closest to the earth. This is like the door opener. Great, let's attune to the codes and let's let them work us through this first wave of consciousness expansion. If you haven't seen the first wave video that I did, you'll find a link to that below. Go watch it. It gives you all these different dates. And a peak date is the solstice. Peak date is the solstice, which is December 21st, around there. right? That Capricorn, I shouldn't say, yeah, I can say December solstice. I sometimes say like winter solstice, and I'm like, wait, that's not winter in Australia, Sabrina, get it right. So it's Capricorn solstice. It's December solstice. Blah, 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 blah. So that has been, a lot of things have pointed to that date as being a peak point of kind of this first wave of consciousness, of real expansion, that some of us are really riding this wave. And if you haven't seen that, how do you know if you're in the first wave video? Go watch that. It might just help you to understand a little bit more about maybe what you're going through. Okay, so 3i Atlas on Wednesday is at 22 degrees of Libra. Here's the interesting part. This is the part that I think a lot of people are going to miss. Conjunct Venus. Venus is at 19 degrees. That is what 3i Atlas is like closest to, is Venus. Isn't this interesting? This is feminine. Venus is all feminine. We all know that. She's a very common archetypal energy. All feminine. What does that mean? It's not in the head. Venus points to the heart. Venus points to embodiment. Venus points to the body, those deep, sacred, feminine wisdom that I was talking about. Isn't this interesting? On one of these peak days when 3i Atlas is peaking, closest to the sun, that means a lot of juice. Like our sun is literally in alignment, lighting it up. Conscious self is our sun. So conscious self connecting into these sacred codes of 3i Atlas, these consciousness codes of 3i Atlas, but conjunct the feminine. So can we embody it? I don't want to just think about it. I don't want to just like put my attention on it. I want to dance it. I want to breathe it. I want to bring it into my heart, my womb, my belly, my butt. I want to bring it into my body. How much are we going to be able to embody the consciousness codes that are coming in? We can contemplate them until we're blue in the face. That's fine. We can puke out all kinds of information about it. But how much are we going to embody it so that we become it? How much are we going to become the new human? Not just talk about the new human. Are we going to become it? Are we going to become it in our hearts? Are we going to become it in our belly? Are we going to become it in our womb? Are we going to become it in our whole being? Am I going to become it in my bones? That's what this is talking about. Now it gets bigger. 3i Atlas conjunct Venus, that's becoming it, embodying it, right? You could also think about the feminine as form, the masculine as formless. Shiva Shakti, right? Shiva Shakti, the divine masculine, divine feminine, form and formless. Feminine form, I want to bring it into form. It's the divine in form. I want to bring these consciousness codes into form, right? I want to bring them into my bones. That's her. So now they're opposing. So 3i Atlas is at 22 degrees, opposing Chiron and Eris. Chiron and Eris are at 24 and 25. It's opposing Chiron and Eris. Consciousness codes in an embodied way conjunct Venus, opposing Chiron and Eris. What the hell does this mean? Chiron is a masculine energy that is very body-based. They're shamanic. Chiron is in his body. He cannot get out of his body. He cannot die. He cannot get out of his form. He cannot get out of his body. Isn't this interesting? Chiron, the great shaman, right? Also, wounds, deepest wounds. I want to bring these consciousness codes into my deepest wounds. That's Chiron. That's conjunct Venus, embodied. Opposite Chiron, I want to bring it into my deepest wounds. Where is this shadow territory? How much shadow work have you actually done? Is a really good question to ask yourself, and be really serious. We always talk about like, well, they haven't done the work. I'm not dating them. Well, how much? They haven't done the work. They haven't done their work. Okay, what if we were to get really real? Have you done your work? Have you done your work recently? I know I just got my ass handed to me last week by the Dark Goddess in the most profound, beautiful fucking way, because it's a never-ending spiral, right? A never-ending spiral of more and more consciousness into more and more unconscious territories. That's all it is. That's all it is. I'm lighting up the dark, lighten up the shadow. And in there is golden shadow. In there was gifts that I didn't even know I had. In there was a level of love that I didn't even know I could love. The unlovable, like it didn't even know it. And it was actually working with Lilith, Medusa, and Eris, because that's what we're holding space for. I did a podcast episode on Lilith, Medusa, Eris. If you're not sure about journeying with them, go watch the podcast episode first. If they sing though, do the work, man. Listening to a podcast episode, that ain't doing the work. In my humble opinion. Go journey those Dark Goddess workshops before they close. All right, because it will help to bring the consciousness codes into the deepest wounds. Why wouldn't we want it into the deepest wounds? These high voltage, high frequency, new earth, new human, which is all joy. It's all joy. It's living a life of joy. It's living a life of this alignment, this joy, this frequency that I tap into, and I'm working on stabilizing it in myself. I'll be honest. I'm tapping into it. I mean, I have days where I can walk around in it, and then falling off the joy wagon, and I'm having to look at what is blocking me from stabilizing that energy. What is blocking me personally from being even more solid in it, more consistent in it, in more environments, amidst more energy, because we don't live in a bubble. I don't live in a bubble. I live in the same shit box, toxic, low frequency world we all live in, right? And I love it. Like, I signed up for it. My soul signed up to see this wild journey, as did yours, All right, I hope a little bit of this tangent has helped you to maybe just see yourself. It's why I share so openly and transparently, because I hope it gives you a way to sink your teeth into understanding how this could be showing up for you. Let's talk more about this. So 3i Atlas, bringing in this frequency of joy, this frequency of just, we can't even comprehend this reality, because it's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. It's so easeful. It's so graceful. It's just joy. And it's totally in alignment with your unique expression of self, your highest, truest expression of self. You're literally creating the exact experiences your soul wants. You're creating the world that your soul wants to create. It's what it came here to do. There's nothing more fulfilling. There's nothing more purposeful for us as individuals. So these codes coming in, Venus, embodied, the feminine, right? It's heart, it's womb, it's in the body, in the bones. Now opposing Chiron, get into your deepest wounds. What is Eris? Eris is all about truth warrior. She is a truth warrior. She'll kind of stop at nothing to give the truth, right? She'll stop at nothing to get you to a deeper truth where you have anesthetized, where you have falsely accepted something. She will throw the apple of discord. That's her. She throws the apple of discord and starts the Trojan War. She throws the apple of discord, but it's not from a place of I just want to start war for war. I want to just chaos for chaos. By the way, she's also linked to creation mysteries. Do you see how all this is interweaving? New human, new earth, 3i Atlas coming in this 2025-2026 period of time, these peaks with creation. New human, new earth is your next level creation capacity switching on. And I was talking about new feminine, right? I was talking about the sacred feminine wisdom, and part of what she's asking us to do is it's creating with joy. You're creating. You are this conscious creator. You are this powerful creator. You have no idea. You don't have to be victim to consequence anymore. You don't have to be victim to fate anymore. Well, you don't have to get blown around in the wind all the time. Oh, woe is me. Life fucking sucks. That's over. That's what this is all pointing at. But are you doing the work you're called to do to get this body temple space in a place where it can open up to those frequencies? It can allow those frequencies in the deepest depths. How much root chakra have you done? Second chakra, that's your sexuality, by the way. That could point to a lot of goodness, a lot of blocks, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. How much root chakra, second chakra, third chakra, your power center, your will, my control, my way or the highway, not divine way, my way. How much of that have you done? For real, that's shadow work. That's where the dark goddess will take you. Deep, the depths, right? The depths where we hold all of this unconscious material. Okay, so conjunct Eris. Eris is going to rock the boat. I don't know how this is going to make. I don't know 3i Atlas. No one does. Don't know, but it could be Eris just going, look, I'm going to weave events for you so that the truth gets exposed. I'm gonna maneuver people, places, things around so that the truth gets exposed. And part of this, Medusa, we could talk a little bit about Medusa. Medusa is, I have nothing to hide. When you get to a place of I have nothing to hide, that's a very powerful place to be. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. In myself, in my deepest depths of self, in my life, I have nothing to hide. That's, by the way, that's new human. That's new earth. We're all becoming very, very psychic. We all know everything anyways. We do. We all know everything. But it's us being very uncomfortable and trying to hide things, trying to, I don't want you to see these deepest depths of myself. I don't want you to see my deepest sexual fantasies. I don't want you to see that what I really think about myself. I don't want you to see that I don't have a lot of self-love. I'm just throwing a bunch of different things out to feel into. Okay, wow. I did say we were going to just fucking go for it, didn't I? Wow, here we go. So we got to talk a little bit more about 3i Atlas because this is such a beautiful conglomeration. So this is Wednesday and Thursday. These energetics are going to be alive and well. Not only is 3i Atlas conjunct Venus opposing Chiron and Eris, which we've already expressed, square Jupiter. Of course, Jupiter's at 24. 3i Atlas is at 22, square. What does Jupiter do? Amplifies, brings grace, expansion. Okay, so it's bigger. It's more, it's amplified, it's bigger. It's like we're able to receive it even if we're dense as fuck. Jupiter's like, I don't care how dense you are. I'm going to help to loosen all of that density so this can get in. I'm going to amplify this so much that even if you're not looking this way, it's still going to hit you. I like that. Good, because I could be dense as hell. Now we got to talk a bit about Medusa, right? Nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. There's nothing in me to hide. You can put your consciousness anywhere in me. I have nothing that I'm ashamed of. Nothing. That's a really liberating place to be. That's Medusa. Journeying with Medusa releases a lot of shame, pain, fear, things that we are embarrassed of. Also, ways that we protect ourselves. Old patterns we learned in childhood on how we protect ourselves, how we close up, how we armor ourselves. And then we're actually just blocking the goodness also. So Medusa is trine 3i Atlas. And sextile Chiron Eris. So Medusa, trine, this is a good flowing aspect, trine. I love that there's these two dark goddesses in there. Eris, opposing, and Medusa, trine, 3i Atlas. Conjunct Venus. Talk about a feminine, beautiful, amazing conglomerate. You could say Eris is truth warrior of the feminine. Venus, lover. I'm just a lover. I'm sensual. I'm in my body. I'm the lover aspect of the feminine. Then you could say Medusa, dark goddess, deeper sacred lover. I will bring love into the most pain-filled, shame-filled places in you. I will show you that too is love. I will show you self-love on a level that you've never experienced. That's Medusa. Again, you can journey with Medusa and Eris in that Reclaimer bundle that also includes Lilith. Only open until the 31st though. Okay, let's keep going. So that's Wednesday. That's big. That's big. Mars is also trine Saturn on Wednesday. That's the warrior. We talked about him on Monday. He's the doer, right? He's the action warrior. That masculine can be very egoical. Trine, this is a good aspect to Saturn. Saturn is manifester. Saturn brings things into reality. So I like this because it's the masculine in a non-disassociated alignment, like where it's not just in the mind. So even the masculine, these two big hitters, Mars and Saturn, even they're saying, let's ground this. That's Saturn. Let's bring this to ground. Let's make this manifest. He's holding the doer to making it come into 3D or 4 and 5D reality. I don't give a fuck. But I want you to manifest this, bring this to ground, bring this into your life. Isn't that good? It's good. It's good. It's good for us fully bringing these consciousness codes through. Again, if you don't have a way of bringing these consciousness codes through, join me in membership. You'll find the link below. You can stay for a month. Just get that. But get in before the 1st because you'll get the creation workshop. I'm talking about part of this is all about accessing these creation these we'll call them consciousness codes coming from 3i Atlas. We'll call them creation codes coming out of our capacity to create. So switching on more of your capacity to create, becoming more of a conscious creator. So those, I think it's like 7 principles or something, are in that workshop. So if you join before the 1st, membership, bones, before the 1st, you get the creation workshop, which is already there waiting for you. Do it this week. That would be a really good thing if you're already a member in ReWilding. I know there's like 1,000 of you. If you're already a member in ReWilding, do that again Wednesday, Thursday. Do it again Wednesday, Thursday. Do it again. And if you've got the Reclaimers, do Medusa and Eris around this time period too. Make sure you get them in, and then you can do Lilith a little later on because she starts to peek her head up toward the end of the week. All right. So joining Bones before then gets you the replay of the October 1st workshop. That disappears come November 1st. You no longer can access the creation workshop. So just make sure you join before November 1st because you get that replay. Then you're there for Live Circle or grab the replay of these consciousness codes coming in from 3i Atlas. All right, moving on. Thursday. That's the 30th, same energetics of this perihelium is what it's called, with 3i Atlas and the sun, closest together. Conscious self, sun, 3i Atlas, new consciousness codes, closest that they're going to be now. This is where Lilith asteroid, sextile Venus. Remember I said Venus yesterday is conjunct 3i Atlas. Now we're bringing Lilith in a sextile. This is the Lilith asteroid. For those of you who are into astrology, like where do you get all these points from? Which one is this? There's a couple Lilith points. It's the Lilith asteroid. Is sextile to Venus. Right? That's a good flowing aspect. Venus is lover. Lilith would take Venus into deeper depths of lover. Venus will take you into that deep sacred feminine that I talked about. Lilith will take you into, sometimes you can think about Mary Magdalene. By the way, Mary Magdalene's at play too in these energetics. I didn't put her specifically into the conversation, but know that it's almost like Mary Magdalene, her Shakti, her particular flavor, her archetypal energy is just like the whole week. She's just kind of out here with like big sacred heart. That's kind of Mary Magdalene energy, just high voltage, very divine, feminine love throughout this whole week. Now, Lilith wants to go into deep hidden places. Like, let me help you embody this deeper. That's what she's saying with 3i Atlas here on Thursday. Let me help you embody it deeper. Yes, you brought it into the heart. Did you bring it into the womb? That's Lilith. Did you bring it into your sexuality? Are you bringing these consciousness codes into 1st, 2nd, 3rd chakra? How much clearing out have you done to really receive new frequencies and new codes? That's what Lilith is saying on Thursday. Again, now is a good time to start journeying with Lilith if you're doing the Reclaimers. Open until the 31st, then they're closed. I don't know if we'll ever open them again. I really don't. We have 36 archetypes. This is 3 of them. We're going to want to cycle through probably all 36 of these before we come back to the Reclaimers. So this is not a really good time to go like, they'll open it again. Okay, maybe in like 5 years. I don't know how long it will take us to get through all 36 of these archetypal activations. Okay, so moving on. Friday, we have, by the way, Thursday, Mercury is sextile Pluto. So we need to talk a little bit about Mercury. This is where I said this is the Mercury pre-shadow setup phase for Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde on November 9th. Did I write that down somewhere? Maybe I didn't write that down anywhere. But he goes retrograde on November 9th. But this is the pre-phase. So everything that's going on with Mercury right now is going to be part of the retrograde. We'll talk more about this in the coming weeks, of course, when it gets closer. This is just a good week to kind of pay attention to what is top of mind for you. That's Mercury, mercurial. What's coming to your mind? What's arising? What's in your thoughts? What are you thinking about? Now, remember I said if we do some of this deeper work, we're going to be able to have a less intense Mercury retrograde. He's going to do less trickster energy where he, messes up contracts and he messes up flights, and your ex gets your current boyfriend's text message. I don't even know what kind of Mercury trickery is going to go on for you, but there will be less of it if we're really able to look at the shadow. That's what Mercury retrograde wants to do, is bring up the shadow, and he's going back into Scorpio. So all this scorpionic energy that we're in, do the work now. It'll be much less painful when Mercury retrograde comes up. Okay, so on Thursday, I'm not going to go back. Mercury, well, I will. So Wednesday, let's just talk Mercury really quickly. Let's go back super quickly. Wednesday, Mercury is trine Neptune. This is Mercury moving signs, right? He's in Scorpio. He's trine Neptune, 29 degrees. So he's now at the anaretic degree on Wednesday. This is more dark. This is more, let me reveal the dark. Mercury is messenger of the gods. He's speaking for Scorpio. Now he's at the last degree of Scorpio, anaretic degree. It's a karmic degree. It's even deeper depths, more karmic. So he's attuned to that, 29 degrees of Scorpio. He's trine Neptune. Neptune's the great dissolver. The way that Neptune transmutes something is he dissolves the energy, dissolves it. You just dissolve the old patterns. You dissolve the shadow. You dissolve the unprocessed, blocked emotions. So then Mercury moves into Sagittarius. This is Wednesday. This is the dark and light. It's such a dark and light week. It's stunning. It's a both and, the depths and the heights, the dark and the light, like really holding both of them. So then Mercury moves into Sagittarius. Now he's at 0 degrees, obviously, right? When he moves into Sagittarius, the mind is going to get a little more expanded. So instead of being deep in the underworld, now the mind is going to be expanded. Isn't this great for 3i Atlas? This is all the new consciousness codes coming in. So good. So then Mercury will get to, I think Uranus is at 0 degrees now. Mercury will then oppose Uranus. This is all still happening on Wednesday. So the mind then hits the Great Awakener. Opposition to the Great Awakener. Uranus is like flashes of insights, bolts of inspiration, the new, revolutionary, like maverick energy. Like here's what's new, here's move forward, go, flashes of insights. While 3i Atlas is doing all that stuff on Wednesday with the feminine, of like the embodiment of it, the mind is operating to open up to what is this leading to. So be open to visions. Be open to future visions. What is your new human? What is the new earth? Be open to these future visions. So now Thursday, continuing on with Mercury. So this is Thursday the 30th. Mercury conjunct the moon. That just makes the feminine kind of hits. There's more energy, there's more emotion, there's more juju around Mercury. Sextile Pluto now. Pluto's lord of the underworld. Scorpio territory, the underworld, lord of the underworld. Pluto's also evolutionary. It's a soul point. It's an evolution of your soul. So now Mercury, he's having all these conversations in a really short period of time. This means that your mind, if you were to give yourself space, if you were to go into meditative space, your mind will be able to kind of bring through much more information with Uranus, with Pluto, with Neptune, with changing signs. The mind is going to be able to do things it normally can't on Wednesday and Thursday because of what Mercury's doing. Now remember, Mercury's going back through this whole territory, but he'll then be in shadow, retrograde. He'll then be in, let's go backwards. Now here's what you didn't get. Here's what you missed on the first go around. Get it right on the first go around. Get it right on the first go around. We don't have to redo it. This means don't avoid triggers. Don't avoid challenging conversations. Don't avoid being called into shadow work if that's what you're called into. Don't avoid these dark goddesses. Don't avoid embodiment. Don't avoid clearing out the toxic masculine that we talked about from Monday with Mars. Don't avoid these things. Don't avoid these things. It doesn't mean that we put an overemphasis on the dark. This is something that I really want to speak to this week. It means that we don't bypass it. We don't anesthetize ourselves. We don't fa la la pretend that that's not going on. But we also don't stay there longer than necessary. This is where sometimes people get stuck in the shadow trap. And I think there's a lot of people here who are now avoiding shadow work because they did a lot of shadow work and they actually kind of got addicted to shadow work. If this is you, listen. Feel for yourself, feel for what's true. You did a lot of shadow work and it was very fruitful. And then you got to a place where you're like, wow, I actually need to look to the light. I actually need to look to creating my future. I actually need to get out of dark goddess. And I need to start like looking at higher frequency goddesses like Parvati. You know, the joy and the bliss and the goodness, because this is what everyone's saying new human is and new earth is. Yes. And so we've been in this phase for a while. And now we're resisting that because we think we're done. We think we did it. We think it's over. And we think going back is wrong. We think going back into our shadow territory, dark goddess, let's just say, territory, it's going backwards. It's a spiral. It's a spiral. It's a spiral. We are never not opening up to more and more and more and more consciousness. But we have to feel for ourselves. For me, it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday, it's almost an every moment thing of where's the best place for my consciousness to be. Actually, yesterday, for example, the best place for my consciousness was in some really old, ancient past life shadow territory, to be just releasing some old, ancient toxins from my body, to prepare my body's temple space to receive the new frequencies. Today, waking up this morning, where's my consciousness wanting to go? Three-Eye Atlas. This is now where I'm at. I'm not in the shadow territory. I was there yesterday. I was there the day before, and I was there the day before that, right? I did a proper shadow journey. Like, it was good, fruitful. There's golden shadow. There were gifts. There was an opening. There was a releasing. All the things. But now it's, where's my consciousness most serving to go? Three-Eye Atlas. Okay, here we go. Here are these consciousness codes. Now it's time for me to bring in the consciousness codes because I emptied out. I have space to be able to bring them into, like, I worked in my psoas and my hips yesterday. And so now it's that got emptied out, released. I can bring those frequencies into my hips. So I'm living it. I'm living it in a completely different way. I am the embodiment of these new consciousness codes. I am the embodiment of new earth. That's what new earth is. It's the becoming the new earth. As within, so without, as above, so below. You know all those principles. All right, wow, we're really, I said we weren't going to hold back. We're almost at an hour. Let's move on. All right, so let's get to Friday. We got to get off of this Wednesday, Thursday, Three-Eye Atlas stuff. So let's get into the 31st. Now, this is an interesting aspect. I like this one. More feminine archetypes. The sun, conscious self, very close to Three-Eye Atlas, right? Still, it's not far away. Still very close to Three-Eye Atlas, is now in a T-square to Parvati. I just mentioned Parvati. Remember, I was like, get out of the dark goddess. Parvati. This feminine wisdom, this feminine sacred codes, this place, T-square to Parvati and Pallas Athena, the feminine warrior. Y'all, I cannot even talk more about how much the feminine is here supporting the embodiment of Three-Eye Atlas. Conscious self, sun, conjunct Three-Eye Atlas, still on Friday, in a T-square, Parvati, sacred union. Sacred union. Parvati is whole unto self. Parvati is very similar to Mary Magdalene energy. Very similar, different traditions, of course. Christian tradition or whatever the tradition would be called. I'm sure I get these names wrong. And then the Indian pantheon would be Parvati, right? Very similar energetics. I'm a genius at the energetics. I'm not a genius at all the fucking dogma and religious thing. I don't know. Whatever. But they're very, very similar energetics. I think where would they? I'm not even going to go into that. That would just be a fun exploration. I could do a whole podcast on that. So we have Parvati energy, like this real high voltage, high frequency. You can almost feel into like Isis mysteries a bit with Parvati, like a lot of like the tantrikas are held there. All the tantric wisdom, all the sacred union wisdom. And it's not just sacred union wisdom between the feminine and the masculine and ourselves. It's sacred union with the divine. Like what is that sacred union between you and the divine, you and your connection? That's yum. For Friday. And then Pallas, Athena's feminine warrior. This is the mind. She's a strategist. She's a strategist. The way that she can weave threads together of a very feminine form of taking in all of this intuitive information, all of this energetic information, all of this embodied wisdom, this deep sacred feminine wisdom. And she can literally strategize it to come up with an action plan to bring it into life. I mean, we're so supported in these things. All right. The 31st is also the day that Medusa, Lilith, and Eris close. So that's the last day that you can get on the Reclaimers. I've already talked about that. Find the link below. Now, Saturday the 1st, nodes of fate come into play. Nodes of fate. This is your true north. True north. Highest path forward, right? And what is your highest path forward amidst this new human, new earth energy? What is your trajectory now? Sekhmet squares the nodes of fate. Sekhmet, another dark goddess. And it's clarity, brings clarity around nodes of fate. I won't go too much further into that. Also on the first Saturday, Venus is opposite Chiron now. Remember Venus conjunct 3i Atlas. Now she's moving on. She's now, not conjunct. She's perfectly, exactly opposing Chiron. We talked about this earlier. Chiron is embodied masculine. Wounds. Venus opposite Chiron. More of the wounds can be could be through our bodies. Some of us are really feeling our bodies being very, very affected in these changes that are going on. So then we'll move on to the 2nd. This is November 2nd, Sunday. Now we have Jupiter, the great expander, the amplifier, is square Eris. This is a good day to do the Eris journey. Eris, truth. I will stop at nothing to uncover the truth. So this could be you actually needing to find the truth in a situation. This could be you being truthful with yourself about a situation, but it's Jupiter giving a lot of grace, a lot of energy, expansive, amplifying Eris energy. And she's that truth warrior. There's a courage that comes with her too. And I'm talking to a lot of people on the ReWilding team lately and hearing that they're finding this, and this to me feels very Eris. They're finding a way to stand in themselves with courage in a way that they couldn't before. Like, I'm much more courageous around who I am. I can stand in my truth. I can speak my truth. This is all Eris energy, by the way. That journey opens up this kind of juju in ourselves, this aspect of selves more and more and more and more and more. It brings it out of dormancy through developing energies and then into very clear high state of you are just truth. You speak truth, you live truth, you are truth. You don't even have to like try to be truthful. Your whole energetics are also, they're just truthful. They're truthful. So that's on Sunday. That's a pretty big week, a really big week ahead. Again, if you're not subscribed to ReWilding Weekly, you definitely want to do that. That's free. That's the newsletter. Really feel into those dark goddesses because, like I said, I don't know when they're going to open again. It could be 5 years before we open the Reclaimers, which is Lilith, Medusa, Eris, and you get 3 of them for the price of 2 right now, only until the 31st. That's kind of what's going on. Also, we have circle on the 1st. So on that Saturday when Sekhmet is square the nodes, that's when we have live circle where we'll be working with 3i Atlas energy and those consciousness codes and you tapping into those consciousness codes for yourself. I love that Sekhmet has lit up the nodes of fate too, because then it's also helping to just really sit in the energy of for your unique soul blueprint, your unique life path, yours. That's the nodes of fate with Sekhmet there, just really lighting that up. It's a great day to be in circle. If you can't make it for circle, you can of course watch the replay again. If you join before the 1st, you also get creation workshop. I would very much do that this week during this 3i Atlas hit. And then you can again repeat it. You have lifetime access to any of the workshops you're there for, as long as you're a member of ReWilding. And then on the 19th of December, you can do that 3i Atlas and that creation workshop again when 3i Atlas is the closest to the earth that it will become. Woo-hoo! It's been amazing to be here with you. Subscribing, if you love this, if you got something out of it, subscribing really helps us. Might help you too, because you get notifications of when new videos comes out, but it weirdly does algorithmically stuff. And so subscribing and leaving comments is just a good way of like paying it back, paying it forward. I don't know, spreading the love. Our motto in ReWilding is make good shit and share it. If you thought this was good shit and you want to share it, share it. If sharing it doesn't feel right, subscribe, leave a note below. That always helps us out. And I'm always there, and I love reading all of your comments, by the way. Like, I love, it's fucking beautiful to just hear from you all the time. You very much weave into every episode, every conversation that comes through. All right. Live more, love more. I will see you when I see you, where I see you, when I see you, and how I see you. So much love to you.